Hey guys, it's Max Convexity. Welcome to the tracking error report. I made a spreadsheet to track the daily tracking error of all these different assets. What I'm comparing I'm comparing the high yield asset to its benchmark. Like for instance, JEPY, the Defiance S&P 500 fund. It promises to give you income and then on a secondary basis track the asset. That's what all these high yield funds do. It's income first, but then they also attempt to track the assets. Some managers have a better, easier time doing it than others. Some of these funds have a better strategy or a different strategy that allows them to stay closer to the benchmark, and sometimes it just comes down to luck. So I don't know that you can really tell a whole lot about the daily tracking error, but we're also going to look at the weekly and the monthly tracking error at the end of the month, and at the end of the week on Sunday nights I'll do a weekly tracking error. But just on a daily basis, you can kind of see which funds have been hot. Look at this AMDY. This thing's on fire. You know, Amazon was up 1.2 points, which is great, but AMDY was up nearly 5%. That's really good. You know, everyone's been talking about Tesla lately. Well, it had a decent day today. Tesla was up 15 basis points, and Tesla was up 20 basis points. That may not seem like a lot, but that's a third more. That's 33%. That is a lot on a percentage basis. But then there's the ones that aren't doing great either, like NVIDIA, or NVIDIA had a bad day. NVIDIA had a great day, but NVIDIA was only up 68 basis points. Still pretty good to be up 68 basis points. It's definitely a first world problem, but if you want to study tracking error and you're being honest, you would have to say today NVIDIA had a lot more tracking error than Tesla. In fact, Tesla had negative tracking error. It had the reverse of tracking error. Let's see here. So Coney was also a problem child. Coinbase's parent asset was up and Coney was down. So that's a pretty big difference right there. On the opposite side of the spectrum, look at OARC. You know, their parent asset was down and OARC was up 79 basis points. That's a big day for OARC. And AMSI, you know, AMSI had a great day. Amazon was up 1.2, parent, you know, and AMSI was up 1.45. That doesn't look like a lot, but on a percentage basis, that's about 20%. Let's see, Aptly was an underperformer. It underperformed by quite a bit, its parent asset today. We've already talked about AMDY. TSLP is the curved Tesla high yield fund, and it was right in line, so I didn't give that a red or a green. But the rest of them were all red. MRNY underperformed the parent asset. MSFO underperformed the parent asset by quite a bit. PYPY underperformed the parent asset also by quite a bit. Another first world problem. I mean, it's great to have anything that goes up more than 0.5% in one day's time. I mean, that's awesome. But when the parent asset goes up 6%, you know, it's going to cause some tracking error. This is how tracking error is made. Now, FBY actually did not do that terrible. Meta was up 1.95, and then FBY, the high yield version of Meta, was up 1.81. DSIO also had problems yesterday, and they have problems today. So the ones I really like are the index funds. I just think they're so much better than any. I don't care about any of the single stock ones. The single stock is just too risky. You know, index funds are just way less risky. So up here in the upper left, we have all the index funds that track the SPX. Well, the SPX had a big day. It was up 1.2 points. Well, the best performing in the SPX complex, or the SPX high yield universe, was the SPY. It had a big day. It still lagged, but it didn't lag as much as the other ones did. And then JEPI was the biggest laggard of the bunch. And JEPY wasn't far behind when it comes to lagging, just to be honest. And JEPY led the way yesterday on lagging. So those Defiance funds have not had a great month. But still, this is more first world problems. Like I say, anytime you have an asset that's up 0.5% in one day, that's a gigantic win. But, you know, if you're following tracking error, you do have to notice that the parent asset was up nearly 3 times as much, or 2.5 times as much in this case. All right, so let's go over here to the NASDAQ universe. They have 4 funds that follow the NASDAQ, really 3 of them, and FEPI follows its own benchmark, but they're all related to the NASDAQ. That's why I put FEPI on that list. But the biggest, best performer was QILD. That Global X fund did great today, up 1.42%. That was a heck of a good day. The worst performer in this universe, in the NASDAQ high yield universe, was QQQY. Still up nearly 0.7 of a basis point, but it underperformed. Now, FEPI, it follows its own index called the Selective FANG and Innovation Index. And, you know, it lagged by quite a bit, but it still had a great day. 1.18% is a huge day. That's a gigantic day. That's like 300% a year what that annualizes out to. And obviously that's why funds don't make that much every day, but to make that much on any day is still impressive. That's very impressive. All right, and then we go over here to the Russell 2000 high yield universe. There's only 2 stocks that I know of in it. There's IWMY, and it did great today. And then there's RYLD, the Global X fund, and it was the big laggard of the day. I don't know why I have this the wrong color. I'm sorry about that, but this was the winner here, and this one was the laggard there. All right, guys, thanks for tuning into the tracking report. Sunday night, I'll have a weekly tracking report, and we're going to look at the weekly tracking error and see what it was, and then we'll also look at everything for next week at that time. And I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys like the new report. Have a great day.